Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name's Erica.
And I'm Marco.
So, Marco, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm really happy to be back, ready to deliver another great podcast for all our listeners.
That's right. And we've got an intermediate lesson today about spending money.
Yeah, specifically spending money in a company.
That's right. We're going to be listening to a business meeting as a company describes how they're spending money.
Right, and they're actually looking at their profit and loss statement, so that's kind of interesting.
Well, Marco, can you tell us a little bit about a profit and loss statement?
Yeah, sure. Well, all companies come out with a profit and loss statement every year or every 3 months, and it's basically a document that shows all the money that the company is spending and all the money that the company is earning.
So it's a document that outlines how much money the company makes and how much it spends.
Right. So in the end, basically, it'll tell you we're making money or we're losing money.
Okay. So we're going to be listening to some people discuss a profit and loss statement in just a moment. But before we do that, it's time for vocabulary preview.
Vocabulary preview.
Okay, great. So today on our vocabulary preview, we have 2 words for you. So let's take a look at the first one.
Expenses.
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 So expenses are things that you have to spend money on regularly.
Right. So for example, in a company, regular company expenses are salaries or office supplies or the phone bills, internet bills.
Okay, and maybe in a household or a family, your expenses might be your food, perhaps your transportation or your rent or your heating bill. So these are all things you spend money on regularly. They're expenses.
Expenses, great. Let's take a look at our second word, through the roof.
Through the roof.
Through the roof.
Through the roof.
So when something is through the roof, it's
really, 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 really high.
Really high. So, for example, we can talk about gas prices are through the roof lately.
Yeah, that's totally true. Gas prices have gone really high in the past couple of months.
So when we talk about through the roof, it means that the number is really high.
That's right. We typically use this word with numbers. It also gives you the idea that the number has risen really quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so through the roof.
Through the roof.
All right, Marco, do you think it's time for the dialogue?
Yep, let's listen to the dialogue. As always, the first dialogue is going to be a little bit fast, so it might be a little bit difficult, but
don't worry if you don't understand everything, because we will explain all of the key language in a minute.
Welcome to WorldPod English Video. Today's story is called Smart Money. It's a story about a young office worker who learns the real meaning of managing money, not only in business, but also in life. Meet Emily Carter, a 26-year-old project assistant in a small marketing company. She's talented, creative, and hardworking, but like many people, she doesn't really understand where the company's money goes. Every month, she receives her salary, spends it quickly, and waits for the next one. The company, too, spends fast. Team lunches, business trips, gifts for clients, expensive coffee machines. Everything looks fine until one morning. The boss says, "We need to talk about our spending." Emily sits in the meeting room, a little nervous. Her boss, Mr. Hayes, shows a chart on the screen. The numbers look shocking. Expenses have gone through the roof. He says calmly, "Our profits are falling because our costs are out of control." Those words echo in Emily's mind. Out of control. She realizes she has heard that phrase many times in English lessons, but now she truly understands what it means. That night, she stays in the office and studies the company's expense report. She sees words like expenditures, revenue, and profit margin. She Googles their meanings, writes examples, and practices how to use them in sentences. Our expenditures on travel are too high. We need to increase our revenue. Let's go over the profit margin carefully. Suddenly, English is not just a school subject. It's a tool for real life. She begins to feel excited. The next morning, she prepares a small presentation for her boss. With clear, confident English, she says, if we control entertainment costs and use online meetings instead of travel, we can save around $3,000 a month. The room is silent for a moment. Then Mr. Hayes smiles. Emily, that's a smart idea, he says. You just saved us a lot of money. At that moment, Emily learns something powerful. You don't need to be rich to be smart with money. You need to be aware. She walks home that evening feeling proud, realizing that learning English had just helped her grow, not only as an employee, but as a person. Emily's small success changed the atmosphere in the whole office. People started talking about money differently. Before, they said things like, let's just buy it, or the company will pay. But now they were starting to ask, do we really need this? Or is it worth the cost? One morning, as she was making coffee, her friend Ryan from the accounting team came over and said, Hey Emily, I liked your idea about saving travel costs. That was really smart. She smiled and said, Thanks, Ryan. I just looked at the numbers and they were really off the charts. He laughed and replied, Yeah, our coffee expenses alone could buy us a new computer every month. They both laughed, but inside, Emily knew he was right. Many small things together can become a big number. That evening, Emily decided to make a list of her own personal expenses. She wrote things like coffee, $5 every morning, online shopping, $60 a week, food delivery, $40 a week. Then she added everything. It shocked her, almost $500 a month on small things. She whispered to herself, My expenses are through the roof too. That night, she learned one important phrase deeply. Go over. She said, I need to go over my spending habits carefully. She realized go over means to check something step by step. It's a simple phrase, but very powerful in real life. The next day, she came to work with a notebook full of ideas. During the lunch break, she shared one with her boss. Mr. Hayes, what if we create a spending plan for each department? Something simple like a weekly budget. He looked interested. That's a great thought, Emily. You could even help the teams understand how to track expenses better. For the first time, she felt like her English wasn't just improving her communication, it was shaping her confidence. She could now say professional phrases naturally. Let's look into this issue. I'll take care of that. These numbers are out of control. Each time she used one, her colleagues noticed how fluent and professional she sounded. She was becoming an example of how learning English could change your career. That night, she wrote in her journal, The best way to learn English is to use it in real life, in meetings, in messages, in every decision I make. A few weeks later, Emily's ideas were already making a difference. The company's monthly spending report showed a clear change. Fewer unnecessary costs, more organized payments, and a better profit margin. Everyone seemed happier and more responsible. One day, Mr. Hayes called her into his office. He said, Emily, I'm really impressed. You've made our team more aware of how money moves inside the company. I'd like you to join our financial planning meeting next week. She froze for a second. That meeting was usually for managers and directors, but she smiled politely and said, I'd be happy to. When she walked out of his office, her heart was racing. She thought, I need to prepare. I can't just sit there quietly. So that evening, she opened her laptop, made tea, and started watching business videos in English. She listened carefully to words like budget cut, profit growth, cash flow, and financial goals. She paused the video after each phrase and practiced saying it aloud until it felt natural. She learned the difference between expenses and expenditures, between income and revenue, and even how to use polite professional expressions like, from my point of view. It would be wise to reconsider. May I suggest another option? The next week, during the meeting, the managers were discussing rising costs in office supplies. One person said, We can't reduce that. We need all these things. Emily took a deep breath and said, "Excuse me, may I say something?" Everyone turned to her. She continued, "If we buy some supplies in bulk, we can save up to 20% each month. It's not a big change, but small savings grow fast." The room went quiet for a second. Then the boss smiled. "Good thinking, Emily. That's practical." She realized in that moment that using polite, clear English can give power to your ideas. You don't have to speak fast or use fancy words. You just need to speak with purpose. After the meeting, a senior manager told her, "You speak so naturally. I wish my English was like that." Emily smiled and said, "I practice every day, not in a classroom, but in real situations." That night, as she walked home, she felt proud. She had learned something far bigger than business English. She had learned confidence, clarity, and courage. The next morning, Emily arrived early at the office. The sun was just rising, painting the city in soft gold. She made a cup of coffee, opened her notebook, and wrote at the top of the page, "How can I make spending smarter?" She thought about everything she had learned. It wasn't just about saving money. It was about making good decisions. She remembered a phrase she had heard once: "Don't work for money. Make money work for you." It sounded powerful, and she wanted to understand it. So she started to think, how can a company make money work for it? She realized it starts with awareness, knowing where every dollar goes. Later that day, she went to the marketing team meeting. They were planning a big campaign and wanted to rent a luxury conference hall. The cost was huge. Emily raised her hand and said, gently, "What if we hold the event in our office instead? We can make it creative with banners and lights. The message matters more than the place." Everyone looked surprised, but then the creative director nodded. "That's actually a smart idea," he said. "We'll save thousands and still look professional." That day, Emily learned the meaning of value. She realized something many people forget. Expensive doesn't always mean better. What matters is effectiveness. During lunch, Ryan asked, "How do you always find these smart ideas?" She smiled and said, "I just ask myself, is this spending necessary, or is it only a habit?" That night, at home, she made a small chart on her wall titled Smart Spending Words. She wrote phrases like, cost effective, when something gives good results for a low price. Return on investment, ROI, the benefit you get after spending money. Budget friendly, when something fits within your planned money. She practiced them out loud and made sentences. We should choose a cost-effective solution. Our ROI will be higher if we plan carefully. This option is more budget-friendly for the team. By repeating these, she didn't just memorize English. She was training her mind to think practically. She could now discuss ideas with confidence, using professional yet simple English. At the end of the week, Mr. Hayes congratulated her. "Emily, your suggestions have helped us save nearly $10,000 this month." She smiled and replied, "I'm just trying to help us spend smarter." He laughed. "Well, keep doing that. You're turning into our financial coach." That evening, Emily wrote in her journal, "Smart spending is not about saying no. It's about saying yes to what truly matters." A few days later, Emily was invited to help a new department that was struggling with its budget. It was the sales team, and they had been spending heavily on client dinners and travel. She walked into their office with a friendly smile and said, "I'm not here to cut your fun. I'm here to help you see where your money goes." They laughed, but one man said, "We take clients out because it's good for business." Emily nodded and replied, "Of course, but let's check if it's effective spending or emotional spending." That sentence caught their attention. She explained, effective spending helps the company grow. Emotional spending feels good but doesn't give real results. She opened her laptop and showed them two examples. Effective spending, paying for an online ad campaign that brings new clients. Emotional spending, buying expensive wine for a dinner that no one remembers next week. They all smiled because they knew which one they did more often. Then Emily taught them some simple business English phrases they could use when discussing money. Let's go over our expenses before confirming this. I'll look into the numbers and report back. We need to make sure the cost matches the result. She told them, when you speak like this, you don't just sound professional, you start thinking like professionals. By the end of the meeting, the team agreed to create a simple spending policy. One of them said, "Emily, you make budgeting sound exciting." She laughed because it's not about money, it's about responsibility. That night, on her way home, Emily looked at the city lights and thought, every company has two sides, one that earns and one that spends. The smart ones balance both. She realized that money has its own language, just like English. The more you understand it, the more powerful you become. Later, she recorded a short note in her phone to remind herself, and maybe one day to share with others. Learn the language of money. Learn the language of success. But most importantly, learn the language of understanding. She didn't know it yet, but this simple idea would later help her start a new journey, one that would take her beyond her office walls. The following week, her company announced something new, a smart spending challenge. It was her idea, and now everyone was excited to join. Each team had to find creative ways to save money without losing quality. The team that saved the most would win a special day off. The office was full of energy. People were brainstorming, sharing tips, and laughing about old spending habits. Emily walked around, helping teams with both their ideas and their English. At one table, a designer asked, "Emily, how do I say it more politely in English when I think something is too expensive?" She smiled and said, "You can say, that might be a bit over our budget. Or maybe we can find a more cost-effective option." Both sound polite, but professional. He practiced the sentence a few times and said proudly, "That might be a bit over our budget." Everyone clapped. Emily loved moments like that, when learning English became natural and useful. She always said, the best English lessons are hidden in real life. Later, she visited the IT team. They had found a way to reduce software costs by sharing licenses instead of buying new ones for each computer. Brilliant idea! That's what I call smart resource management. One of the IT members asked, "Emily, do you ever get tired of talking about money?" She laughed. "Not really, because when you understand money, you understand life. It teaches patience, planning, and purpose." That evening, she stayed late in the office, preparing the company's first smart spending report. She used simple, clear English sentences so everyone could understand. Our entertainment expenses are down by 30%. We saved $2,000 on office supplies by buying in bulk. Travel costs have decreased because of virtual meetings. When she printed the report, she realized how much she had changed. A few months ago, she didn't even know what expenditures meant. Now, she was teaching others how to manage them. She looked out the window, the city glowing under the night sky, and whispered, "I didn't just improve my English, I improved my way of thinking." She smiled, turned off the lights, and thought, sometimes the best investment is not in money, but in learning. A few days later, the results of the Smart Spending Challenge were announced. The company had saved an unbelievable $25,000 in just 1 month. Everyone clapped and cheered. Mr. Hayes stood up and said, "I'm proud of all of you, but the biggest thanks goes to the person who started this movement, Emily." The whole office applauded, and Emily blushed. She wasn't expecting that kind of attention. Mr. Hayes continued, Emily reminded us that small changes can make a big difference. Saving money isn't about cutting joy. It's about using wisdom. After the meeting, several coworkers came to Emily's desk. One said, "You really changed the culture here." Another added, "You made budgeting cool." Emily laughed and said, "I didn't change anything. I just helped everyone see what was already possible." That afternoon, while organizing her desk, she found her first notebook from months ago, the one full of vocabulary and finance notes. On the first page, she had written, "Learn English, learn money, learn life." She smiled softly. It felt true now more than ever. Later, she walked to the nearby park to relax. The sound of people talking, cars passing, and birds singing filled the air. She sat on a bench and opened her journal. She began writing, "When you spend without thinking, you lose control. When you spend with purpose, you gain freedom." Then she added a few English expressions she had recently learned. Cut down on, to reduce something. Put aside, to save for later. Keep track of, to record or follow your spending. She practiced them aloud. "I need to cut down on online shopping. I'll put aside some money for next month. We must keep track of our company expenses." These weren't just English phrases, they were life habits. As the sun began to set, Emily looked at the sky and whispered, "Every word I learn, every idea I understand, it changes me." She knew she had found her path, not just as an employee, but as someone who inspires others to think smarter, live wiser, and speak better. The next week, something unexpected happened. Mr. Hayes invited Emily to join a client meeting as the company's financial communication assistant. "You've become great at explaining business ideas clearly," he said. "Our clients love simple, direct English. I think you can help." Emily felt nervous but excited. This was her first time meeting an international client face to face. She prepared carefully, reviewing phrases she might need. "Let's go over the numbers together. I'll look into that and update you soon. We can reduce costs without affecting quality." During the meeting, the client, a businessman from Singapore, spoke quickly. Some parts were difficult to catch, but Emily listened actively, nodding, taking notes, and waiting for the right moment to speak. When the client asked, "How are you managing travel expenses this quarter?" Emily smiled confidently and replied, "We've shifted many meetings online, so our travel expenditures are much lower. It's both eco-friendly and cost-effective." The client nodded in approval. "That's impressive. Very efficient thinking." After the meeting, Mr. Hayes turned to her and said, "You spoke clearly, naturally, and professionally. That's the kind of English that builds trust." On her way home, Emily thought about that word, trust. She realized that in business, trust is worth more than money. It's built by being honest, reliable, and clear. She whispered to herself, "English isn't only a language of words, it's a language of confidence." That night, she reflected on her journey. She remembered how she once feared numbers and business English, but now she could explain financial ideas with calm confidence. She had learned that when you truly understand something, your words become powerful. Before going to bed, she wrote in her notebook, "Lesson of the day. Speak to express, not to impress. Clear English is better than complicated English." And then she smiled, because she knew that what she was learning wasn't just vocabulary, it was the language of success, balance, and clarity. A few weeks later, Emily received an email from Mr. Hayes with the subject line, new opportunity. Her heart skipped a beat as she opened it. It read, "Emily, we're launching a new financial awareness program for small businesses. I'd like you to lead the communication and training part." She couldn't believe it. The girl who once struggled to understand a profit and loss statement was now being asked to teach others how to manage money wisely. She whispered, "This is unreal." The first workshop took place in a cozy room with 10 young entrepreneurs. They all looked a little nervous, just like she used to. Emily smiled warmly and began, "Welcome, everyone. Today, we're not just talking about money. We're talking about how to make money work for you." As she spoke, she used simple, clear English so everyone could follow easily. She said, "The key to success isn't just earning more. It's knowing how to control your expenses. Spend on what grows your dream, not what destroys your plan." One participant raised his hand and asked, "How can we reduce unnecessary spending without hurting our business?" Emily replied, "Ask yourself 3 questions before spending. 1. Do I need it right now? 2. Will it bring profit or value? 3. Can I do it another way for less?" Everyone began taking notes. She continued, "That's what we call smart spending. It's not about saying no to everything. It's about saying yes to what matters most." She wrote a few powerful English phrases on the whiteboard. Break even, when your profit equals your expenses. Cash flow, the movement of money in and out. Bottom line, your final profit or loss. She turned to them and said, "If you can explain your money in English, you can explain your future to the world." When the workshop ended, people clapped. One woman said, "Emily, your business English felt alive. It's not boring anymore." Emily smiled and said softly, "It's alive because money and language are both about choices." That evening, as she walked home under the soft city lights, Emily realized something. Learning English had never just been about words. It was about thinking smarter, speaking clearer, and living wiser. The success of Emily's first workshop spread quickly. Within a week, she was invited to speak at a small business seminar downtown. The audience would include entrepreneurs, students, and company employees from different countries. For Emily, it was the biggest challenge of her life, speaking English in front of strangers who came to learn from her. The night before the event, she sat at her desk with a cup of tea and practiced her speech. She whispered, "Be clear, be kind, be confident." Those 3 words became her rule for communication. The next morning, she stepped onto the stage. The room was bright, filled with curious faces. Emily began with a simple question. How many of you feel nervous when you hear words like budget, expenses, or profit? Almost every hand went up, and everyone laughed. She smiled and said, "Don't worry, I used to feel the same. But today, you'll see that English and money are not scary. They are tools to build your dreams." She shared real examples from her office, how cutting down on small expenses saved thousands, how teamwork and communication turned confusion into confidence. She explained with clear, natural phrases. Let's keep our spending under control. We need to go over our plans carefully. Every small saving adds up to something great. Her words were simple, but her voice carried warmth and truth. She wasn't just teaching vocabulary, she was teaching mindset. After the talk, several people came to thank her. A young man said, "Your English is so easy to understand. It feels natural." Emily smiled and replied, "That's the goal. English is not about sounding perfect. It's about being understood." As she walked off the stage, she felt something new inside her, a quiet pride. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that comes from knowing you're doing something meaningful. That evening, she stood by her apartment window, watching the lights of the city. She whispered, "If someone had told me a year ago that I'd be teaching business English, I wouldn't have believed it." She opened her notebook and wrote one final line before closing it for the night. "The smartest investment I ever made was believing I could learn." After her seminar success, Emily started receiving messages from people she had never met. Some were students who wanted to improve their English. Others were young business owners asking how to manage their company expenses. Every message began the same way. "Hi, Emily. I was inspired by your story." She read each one carefully and replied with kindness. She always began with simple English sentences like, "Thank you for writing," or "I'm happy my words helped you." She realized how powerful simple, polite communication could be. One day, a small cafe owner named Leo invited her to visit his shop. He said, "I need help understanding my spending. I lose money every month, but I don't know why." When Emily arrived, she saw a warm little cafe full of color and music, but not many customers. Leo looked worried. He showed her his receipts: new chairs, expensive coffee beans, decorative lights, free desserts for visitors. Emily smiled gently and said, "Leo, you're passionate, and that's beautiful, but passion must walk with planning." She opened her notebook and drew 2 columns, needs and wants. Together, they listed everything. Under needs, they wrote items like coffee beans, rent, and electricity. Under wants, they wrote the extras: flowers, fancy cups, and weekend decorations. Then she taught him some helpful business English expressions. "Our costs are running high. We need to cut down on unnecessary items. Let's focus on essentials first." Leo nodded and said, "I always thought reducing spending means losing quality." Emily replied, "Not at all. Reducing waste means gaining balance. Smart spending is smart living." After a month, Leo messaged her again. His cafe was finally making profit. He wrote, "My expenses are under control now. Thank you, Emily." She smiled at the message, feeling grateful. She had learned that when you teach others, you also learn again yourself. That night, as she prepared to sleep, Emily thought, money, English, success, they're all connected by one thing: understanding. And understanding begins with listening to yourself, to others, and to life. A few days later, Emily received another message, this time from a university professor who had attended her seminar. He wrote, "Emily, your ability to explain financial ideas in simple English is amazing. Would you consider teaching a short course for our students?" Emily couldn't believe it. She was used to speaking in offices and small workshops, but now she was being asked to teach at a university. Her heart raced with excitement and a little fear. She whispered to herself, "Can I really do this?" Then she smiled. "Of course I can. I've already taught myself everything I needed to start." On the first day of class, she stood before 20 students from different countries. They were beginners in business English, just like she once was. She began softly. "Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to learn how to talk about money in English. Not just numbers, but ideas." She asked, "What does the word money make you think of?" One student said, "Power." Another said, "Stress." A few laughed and said, "Bills." Emily nodded. "Good answers. But I want you to think of money as responsibility, because when you manage money well, you manage your life well too." She wrote 3 words on the board: spend, save, invest. Then she explained, these are not only financial actions, they are life choices. She gave examples with easy sentences. I spend on what I need. I save for what matters. I invest in what helps me grow. The students repeated after her, smiling as they practiced pronunciation. She added, these words are powerful when you use them in business English too. For example, we need to invest in better training. Let's save money by planning ahead. We shouldn't spend without checking the results. By the end of the class, the students were speaking confidently, asking questions, and even sharing their own examples. One said, English feels easier when it's connected to real life.
Emily smiled and replied, "That's because language is not about memorizing. It's about living."
Weeks passed, and Emily's class became one of the most popular courses at the university. Students loved how she made English feel simple and alive. She didn't just teach words, she told stories, shared real experiences, and connected language to life. One day after class, a student named Hannah stayed behind. She said softly, "Miss Emily, I want to start my own online store, but I'm scared I'll fail because I'm not good with money." Emily smiled kindly and replied, "Hannah, I used to feel the same, but here's the secret. You don't need to be perfect with money. You just need to be aware of it." She took a marker and drew a small circle on the whiteboard. "This is your income," she said. Then she drew lines going out: rent, materials, delivery, marketing. These are your expenses. The goal is to keep this circle growing while keeping these lines short. Hannah nodded, fascinated. Emily continued, "In English, we call this cash flow management. It means keeping your money moving wisely." Then she taught her some helpful phrases for business English. We should review our expenses every week. Let's plan a simple budget before we start. It's important to keep track of every payment. Hannah practiced the sentences, her confidence growing with every word. Emily smiled and said, "See, when you can say it clearly, you can do it confidently." English helps your brain organize your thoughts. Hannah's eyes lit up. "I understand now. Speaking clearly helps me think clearly." Emily nodded. "Exactly. That's the beauty of language. It shapes the way we think." After Hannah left, Emily sat quietly for a moment, thinking about her own journey. From a shy office worker to a teacher who could help others dream, it felt unbelievable. But she knew one thing for sure. Learning English had opened not just doors, but whole worlds. That night, she wrote in her journal, "Words have power. They can build businesses, heal fears, and change lives. And every learner has that power inside them." She closed her notebook, feeling peaceful. The journey was still going, and every lesson she taught was another step towards something even greater. One cool Friday morning, Emily received an email from Mr. Hayes again. The subject line read, "Big news." She opened it and gasped. The company had decided to launch a global partnership program with small businesses around the world, and they wanted Emily to lead the communication and training side. It was her dream project, teaching others how to use English and smart money habits together. She closed her eyes for a moment and smiled. From managing receipts to managing people, what a journey. 2 weeks later, she was on a video call with business owners from different countries: India, Japan, Brazil, and Kenya. The call began with warm greetings. Emily spoke slowly and clearly so everyone could follow. "Hello, everyone," she said with a calm tone. "Today, we'll explore how simple English can help you make better financial choices. You don't need complicated words to sound professional. You just need to be clear, polite, and confident." She shared real-life examples from her company. "We reduced costs by asking questions like, 'Do we need this?' and 'Can we do it cheaper without losing quality?' We saved money because we started to go over every bill carefully." The business owners began sharing their stories too. A woman from Kenya said, "I didn't know the phrase 'go over' before, but now I use it every week with my team." A man from Brazil added, "We learned how to say, 'Let's look into this,' and it changed how we communicate about money." Emily felt proud. Her words were not just teaching, they were connecting people from different parts of the world. English was doing what it does best: building bridges. After the meeting ended, Emily stayed online for a moment, staring at the screen full of smiling faces. She felt emotional. It's not just about saving money anymore, she thought.
It's about sharing knowledge and kindness through language. That evening, she walked home feeling grateful. She looked up at the night sky and said softly, "Every word I've learned has brought me here." Later in her journal, she wrote one line that summed up everything she had learned in her journey. English is not just a language to speak, it's a way to grow, connect, and make a difference.
Months passed and Emily's global program became a huge success. Thousands of learners around the world were now using her lessons to manage money wisely and speak English with confidence. Her inbox was full of thank you messages from teachers, students, and business owners who said her words had changed their lives. One message touched her heart deeply. It was from a young man in Vietnam who wrote, "Your lessons helped me save my small family business, but more than that, you helped me believe I could speak English. Thank you for giving me hope." Emily sat quietly, reading those words again and again. Tears filled her eyes, not of sadness, but of gratitude. She thought, this is what real success feels like, helping others grow. That evening, she returned to her old office for a visit. Mr. Hayes greeted her with a proud smile. "Emily, look at you now," he said. "You've turned one company's problem into a worldwide lesson. You taught us that learning English isn't just about speaking, it's about how you see the world. Every word you learn is a tool, not just to speak, but to think, to dream, and to act." She paused for a moment, then ended with her favorite message to every learner. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Be afraid of never trying. Learn every day and use your English to make your life richer. Not just in money, but in meaning. The music faded softly in the background as she smiled and said, "Thank you for being a part of WorldPod English Video. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And remember, your voice, your ideas, and your English can change the world." And with that, her story came full circle, from learning about spending to teaching about living with purpose, all through the power of simple, beautiful English.
Okay, so now the last point on our agenda. Jill, let's go over the profit and loss statement.
Great. Well, the main issue here, as you can see, is that our expenses are through the roof.
Well, let's see. These numbers are off the charts. What's going on here?
Well, sir, the company expenditures on entertainment and travel are out of control. Look at these bills, for example. Just this month, we've paid over $20,000 for hotel charges.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll look into it.
The list goes on and on. Here, this is a bill for $5,000 for spa treatments.
Thank you. That will be all. I'll take care of it.
Look at this one, sir. $8,000 were expensed in one night at a place called Wild Things.
Okay, I get it. Thank you for your very thorough analysis.
Okay, so this accountant, she's pretty thorough, hey?
She's really persistent about her job, and the manager apparently is a little bit embarrassed.
I wonder why that could be.
Well, we'll talk about that in a little while. Why don't we take a look at our language takeaway for today?
Language takeaway.
In today's language takeaway, we're going to look at 3 words, and the first word is expenditures.
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 So expenditures sounds pretty close to expenses, right?
It's pretty similar, but it has a little bit of a difference. So why don't we listen to some examples and see if we can understand?
Example 1.
If elected president, I will increase expenditures on health and education by 12%.
Example 2.
We really need to control our travel expenditures. From now on, all managers will fly economy class.
Example 3.
Because of the rise in oil prices, expenditures on food are higher than they have ever been.
So expenditures is the total amount of money that you're spending on something.
Right. That's the total amount of money versus expenses is the things that you spend money on.
Okay, that's really clear. Our next word is out of control.
Out of control.
Out of control.
So when something is out of control, it's
crazy.
crazy. You can't control it.
Exactly. You can't stop it.
You can't stop it.
Out of control.
Okay, great. Now let's take a look at our last word for today. Go over.
Go over.
Go over.
Go over.
So go over is a pretty simple word. Why don't we listen to some examples so we can understand go over?
Example 1.
I need to go over this report one last time to make sure there are no mistakes.
Example 2.
Can you help me go over my presentation? I want to make sure it's perfect.
Example 3.
Let's go over these numbers one more time and make sure there are no mistakes.
Yeah, this is a really common word, and it basically means look at carefully.
Yeah, or review.
In English, we often find simple little words, they fit together really well. And you think, oh, they're so easy, like the word go, over, so easy.
Yeah.
But it's the way that they interact with each other that makes them...
Or it makes you sound much better.
Exactly. So go over in this case, we might say, let's go over the lesson.
Let's go over the lesson.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, that's a more natural way of saying something like that.
Okay, so we've taken a look at our language takeaways for today. I think it's time.
Okay, so now, the last point on our agenda. Jill, let's go over the profit and loss statement.
Great. Well, the main issue here, as you can see, is that our expenses are through the roof.
Let's see. These numbers are off the charts. What's going on here?
Well, sir, the company expenditures on entertainment and travel are out of control. Look at these bills, for example. Just this month, we've paid over $20,000 for hotel charges.
Okay, thank you. I'll look into it.
The list goes on and on. Here, this is a bill for $5,000 for spa treatments.
Thank you. That will be all. I'll take care of it.
Look at this one, sir. $8,000 were expensed in one night at a place called Wild Things.
Okay, I get it. Thank you for your very thorough analysis.
Okay, so I got it.
Yeah, it's clear now.
Yeah, and I heard a lot of really great phrases in this dialogue that I'd like to look at now in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Great, so today on Fluency Builder, we have 3 words for you. Let's start by looking at the first one. Off the charts.
Off the charts.
Off the charts.
Off the charts.
So this word is very similar to through the roof.
Exactly. It also means really high.
Right, so let's listen to some examples of how we can use off the charts in a different situation.
Example 1.
Oil prices have gone up and our costs are off the charts.
Example 2.
Excellent job, Susan. Your sales are off the charts this year.
Example 3.
Our losses are off the charts. That's it. No bonuses for anyone.
So, Marco, do you think I can change off the charts for through the roof in these examples?
Yeah, you can. Definitely. You can use off the charts or through the roof. Both of them mean the same thing.
Okay, so 2 ways of saying really, really, really high.
Really high. but they're very commonly used in a business setting.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so this next word is a phrase that you can use if you want to tell somebody that you'll check something or you'll investigate something.
Right, and we heard it in our dialogue, so let's listen to the clip.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it.
So look into that. That means I'll check something.
Yeah, I'll see what's happening.
Yeah. Does it mean you're going to take action?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so I think we've got another word that does mean you're going to take action.
I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it.
So this word means that you're going to do something about it.
I'll take care of it. I will take responsibility.
Exactly. So I will do something about it.
Yeah.
I will investigate and I'll do it.
Yeah, again, two great phrases. I'll look into it. I'll take care of it.
Okay, so now let's listen to the dialogue a third time. It's going to be at its normal speed, but now you have all the tools you need to understand it a lot better.
Okay, so now the last point on our agenda. Jill, let's go over the profit and loss statement.
Great. Well, the main issue here, as you can see, is that our expenses are through the roof.
Let's see. These numbers are off the charts. What's going on here?
Well, sir, the company expenditures on entertainment and travel are out of control. Look at these bills, for example. Just this month, we've paid over $20,000 for hotel charges.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll look into it.
The list goes on and on. Here, this is a bill for $5,000 for spa treatments.
Thank you. That will be all. I'll take care of it.
Look at this one, sir. $8,000 were expensed in one night at a place called Wild Things.
Okay, I get it. Thank you for your very thorough analysis.
Well, Marco, I guess one of the benefits of being an executive in a company, especially a large company, is you get a lot of amazing benefits.
Yes. When you are a manager or a CEO of one of these big companies, you get a lot of great things like, I don't know, a private jet maybe.
Well, that's nice. Hey?
Or the company often pays for your house.
Yep.
Or for your car, they'll give you a company car. Mm-hmm. They'll pay for your kids or your children's tuition for high school.
So there are school fees.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I've heard about entertainment bonuses.
Yeah. So you can go out to a restaurant, get the receipt, and claim the expenses at work.
Those are some great benefits, right?
So, Marco, I'm curious to know what our listeners' expenses are.
Yes, we definitely want to know what crazy expenses you have. For example,
Well, let's see. My spending on Coke Zero has gone through the roof since we started this podcast.
yes, you spend a lot of money on Coke Zeros every week, right?
Yeah, I probably have about, 10 a week.
Well, for example, I spend a lot on DVDs each week. I usually buy 2 or 3 movies.
That is off the charts.
That is off the charts for DVD spending. Okay. So we want to know what you spend your money on. Be sure to go into our community website and tell us what you spend money on.
That's right. You can find us at englishpod.com. And Marco and I are always there to respond to your questions and comments.
Great. So we'll see you there. And until then, it's
goodbye.
Bye. The English Pod Audio Review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Go over. Through the roof. Off the charts. Expenditures. Out of control. Look into. Go on and on. Take care of. Revenue. Cash flow. The bottom line. Finances. Income. Assets.
Let's try that faster.
Go on and on. Look into. Cash flow. Take care of. Out of control. Finances. Expenditures. Income. Off the charts. Assets. The bottom line. Through the roof. Revenue. Go over.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Go over. Go over. Go over. Off the charts. Off the charts. Off the charts. Through the roof. Through the roof. Through the roof. Out of control. Out of control. Out of control.